Hi friends, before we start this episode, I just wanted to let you know that here in From Someone Who Gets It, we have raw, vulnerable conversations, and sometimes those conversations can trigger others. I want to let you know that in this season, we touch on suicide, infertility, PTSD, and everything in between. So if those are some subjects that are triggering to you, I just want to let you know that you're heard and you're seen and you're not alone. This podcast is for you, and I hope you join us. Hi everyone, welcome to From Someone Who Gets It, a podcast about life, mental health, and everything in between. I'm your host, Marcela, and this season I'll be sitting down with some of my favorite people having raw, vulnerable conversations about goals, dreams, life, and mental health. Every Monday you can find our episodes on the Cultura Talks channel, and I hope you join in. Hi, welcome back to another episode of From Someone Who Gets It. I'm your host, Marcela. Today, we are sitting down with one of the main people here in Cultura Media House. He is a key factor. He is a producer, a comedian, an actor, and everything in between. Today, we're sitting down with Junior Alonso. Where did you go to high school?
Whoa. Christopher Columbus High School.
Oh, my cousin starts there this year.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Nobody else in the family?
No, I have 2 Beleng boys in the family, and then Columbus. Yeah. No.
Ours, we were a Columbus, St. Brendan, Lourdes, and Braddock family.
Oh, Sauceda.
Yeah.
You're from the Sauceda.
Yeah.
Nice. You give me, honestly, Sauceda vibes. In like the best way possible, because I know that like Hialeah and Sauceda, like we have this unspoken rivalry. Do you know that?
So where are you at?
I'm Hialeah.
Oh. I was born in Hialeah Hospital, but I spent no time in the Leah, so I'm not going to claim it.
So you don't claim it?
I'm not going to claim it.
You claim it.
I'm Tamiami and unincorporated Dade.
Okay.
That's my area.
Unincorporated Dade.
Because I'm west of Fountain Blue, west of Doral, Sweetwater.
Okay.
I'm none of those.
Oh, got it.
I'm unincorporated Dade there.
Got it.
Tucked away. And then to the next, the next street is Calle Ocho, and then Tamiami begins right there.
Got it. Okay, cool. What year did you graduate? I'm trying to guess your age without asking you. How old are you?
2006.
Oh shit, you're old, dude.
Damn.
No, I'm just kidding.
Damn.
What's the Kevin Hart thing when what's his name was on and he's like, oh, how old are you? And he's like, oh, I'm 15. He's like, damn.
I think it's him and The Rock. Like they just have that.
No, it was the fuck. I can't believe I don't know his name. I know him from Captain America or Iron Man.
The main guy or no?
No.
We're playing this
Chris,
game now.
you know who we're talking
The
about?
producer.
Whatever. We'll put him right here. This guy. We'll put the clip actually that I'm talking about. But he said he's 50 and he's like, damn.
Damn.
And the guy's looking at him like, thanks,
I'm
dude.
a viejo, I guess.
06. Okay. Well, Eddie's older than you, so that's fine.
Damn.
Yeah. I like love to tell people, I'm like, oh yeah. He went to school with Jesus. Like they walked the same paths to class.
And you took me back now to like your mama jokes and whatever. That was like, your mom's so old, she went to school with Jesus.
Yeah, that's what I used to have. Like,
when she
babe,
farts, dust comes out like those.
Like, babe, what shoes did you wear back then?
Wow.
He's like, okay, enough. And he's only like 8 years older than me.
The Jerusalem Cruisers.
Yeah.
That's what that's a chancleta from.
Okay, so I kind of want to know a little bit about you because we recently just met, but I have a lot of people in my circle who know you. And when I was telling Robbie about this episode, which is Men Have Emotions Too, I was like, I want someone with an interesting story for this episode. And he's like, oh, I'll let you know. And he's like, yo, you got to get Junior on the episode. I'm like, okay, I don't really know his story, but I would love to hear it. And then I'm telling Eddie and he's like, yo, you got to get Junior. And I'm like, okay, 2 separate people who don't really, I mean, Robbie and Eddie talk, but not about this. And I'm like, okay, I fucking got to get Junior and hear about his story. So the episode is about men and emotions because I feel like you guys don't really talk about it as much. And I feel like mental health in the men world is something that some people talk about, and I feel like people are talking a little bit more about it. But guys, just if they're going through it, they just keep their mouth shut and they keep on going. So I think let's start with I want to know your background with mental health and that story.
It's been a long journey for sure. Like, so I would say from the get, I'm an only child. We talked about this when you were on your episode with Janessa. And on the podcast that I did with Hector Zea for the Creative Club, like I tell people, take a shot every time I said I'm an only child, because it was one of the things that I went to therapy a couple of years ago, and I kept mentioning that because they were mentioning it to me. So, excuse me. A lot of it probably stemmed from the get. But 1994.
Okay.
My mom, she fell into a depression, which kind of meant I fell into a depression. So I would say that's where like literally everything began, where I started seeing these dark clouds that didn't make sense to me, and like, why are those around? And I started seeing and approaching things differently because of that. Like I had a more ginger approach to things, where like, ten cuidado with things and way more cautious.
Yeah.
I grew up with a lot of fear. My parents are Marielitos. They came in 1980 from Cuba, and terrified of everything.
Right.
So at a very young age, I was like taught to suppress things, and if you were doing something different, it was wrong.
Right.
Like, and if they didn't tell you that, you were made to feel that way. And maybe not my parents so much, but the family and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that background. So I would say like, yeah, very young age, from like 94, I started like seeing and like feeling different because my mom was going through something and it was affecting everyone else.
Right.
And then I would say like 2001, first time like I experienced like a death around me. And it was like a family friend that was 17, 18 years old, passed away in a car accident. And like,
wow,
what the hell? Like,
yeah,
came out of nowhere. And it was one of those things like everyone like looked up to this person. So I was like 12 or 13 years old when it happened. And I remember like pulling up to the house and seeing like just candles everywhere being held by like people sobbing, and me not knowing what the hell I'm walking into.
Right.
And it was like someone, we just played basketball a couple weeks ago. Like, what? And it was,
and that like shook you.
Yeah, that was the first thing like with like death. So like the combination of like already dealing with this like weird
and not
mental
really
health
knowing
thing, not knowing anything about mental health, and then a tragedy that I can say, like, oh, this happened. Those are probably like the first two like things that got me familiar with it or whatever.
Got it.
And then I don't know, like it's a long list of things.
Yeah.
Like,
and then it's like a whirlwind from there.
Yeah, because then, like I said, I was like 12, 13 around that time, and then you begin like the social experiment of existing.
Right. You go through middle school, you go through high school, you go through these things, and I don't know for you, but for me, because it wasn't something that we spoke about, I didn't realize what the things that I was going through. I just thought it was like normal to feel this and to feel sad random days and to like feel all these different things, never talk about them because it's never talked to me about. Like no one ever talked to me about it, but not understanding like, I don't think I'm supposed to feel like this. I didn't know that until I was like way older, that I'm like, wait, people are like happy all the time. Like that's something that happens in life. I thought we just like went through life and some days we were happy and some days we weren't. When did it hit you like, oh shit, something's wrong and I should probably ask for help? Did you even ask for help? Did something just happen and that's when it was like, oh, I need someone to help me?
It took a long time to get to that point. I'm a very positive person, but I've been like beat up.
Right.
by life, by the people that were supposed to take care of me and look out for me and stuff. I've been dealt a lot of bad hands.
Yeah.
So I think I fought all of that off on my own, suppressed again,
Right.
things under the rug, because that's like what I was shown from day one. Like, you don't talk about it. Levántate, sigue, deja de llorar, and then worse things than that, and yeah, I would say it was a long journey until I asked for help, and I didn't really ask for help until I was broken. So from 2000, like that, experiencing death and whatever, then I experienced just that social experiment of life, and I used to have a widow's peak, and I used to hate this thing, bro. Like, hate this thing. And I used to get my dad's razor
and shave it off.
And I would have this green V on my forehead. I look like Eddie Munster from the Munsters, like this little vampire kid. And I hated this thing. I was this super chubby kid too. My parents always told me it's baby fat. I'm like, I'm 13.
Dude, what is it?
I'm not a baby anymore. Like, what? Dealing with all of that stuff. When am I ever going to date anyone? I'm not going to get picked for this. I'm like, these people have this. I don't like. I got lost in that in those like social years and whatever, middle school, high school. But really didn't let it like affect me too much, in the sense that I felt like I had like a greater duty to do, to like put a show on for people per se. So I spoke about this in the past. Like, my biggest influences as a kid were Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, like that character specific of Will Smith, like that.
Yeah.
Robin Williams in anything and everything.
Same.
And my dad. Like, my dad is a tremendo character himself. Like, I was an only child, but he was like my brother, my mom, my dad, my best friend, like my idol for so many things. So those three characters were the ones that shaped me to be this like entertainer per se. So I go to this quote a lot. I'm like a candle because you got to burn to give others light. Like, I felt like I just did that my entire life, whether it was on my own, because naturally I did want to do it, or it was, oh, ven acá and do the little dance.
Yeah.
Oh, imitate this person like you do. And, all right.
That's how it was for me. I was the singer from a very, very young age. And I talked about this on my pod with Janessa, but I was overweight pretty much my whole life. And that I learned very early on that I had to put on a mask in order to survive in the world that we were in. So I was the singer, I was the entertainer, like that's who I had to be. And I didn't realize until I was in high school and I lost all the weight, and that's when like my depression and anxiety started, that I was like, oh shit, who have I been all these years? Like, who is Marcela? And I find that happens to me when I go through really bad episodes. When I come out of those episodes, I ask myself, who the fuck am I? Like, can we talk about a moment that you felt so completely lost that you were just like, where do I come back from this moment? How do I come back from that?
Yeah, I mean, I'll lead you up to the meat and potatoes of everything.
Yeah.
2013, it kicked off basically like the worst decade of my life. So went through a real bad breakup. And then like 3 months after that, I was with this person for like 6-7 years. And like 3 months after that, I get diagnosed that like I'm sick. And they're like finding things in me that are very bad. And it gets to the point that like after 8 months of this and that, like I have cancer cells that are recognized in like a tumorous thing. And I'm like a bomb went off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know how to take anything in. I always compare it to the peanuts, the Charlie Brown thing where the teacher just goes womp, 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 because you just start to like forget about everything else. Luckily, it wasn't anything crazy. Within 18 months, it returned one time and stuff like that, but everything was able to get managed. I was able to get like treatment for it, and no surgery necessary either. But it was also a lot of like, why me at that time? That's like what kicked it off, because I just went through a bad breakup where like I was literally preparing my future.
Right.
And then it's like, she says no, and then he says no on something too, you know, like it's like, damn, bro, like again, why me? Why me? Why me? And that just opened up Pandora's box of more illnesses, more sicknesses, bad luck at work, bad luck with friends that were lifetime friends that out of nowhere just disappear. And you start finding out it's seasons and reasons.
Yeah.
And it was this terrible crash course that like I felt like everything for me continuously worse. The finish line was getting extended and things were getting worse. And 2019, after like all these like false promises and all of this, I hit my lowest point. And I tried to end it all, man. Like without asking for help ever, you know, like every time that I did try to ask for any type of help, it was met with like some other thing,
right?
Some other priority instead of like the task at hand, because obviously I'm me. How could I have issues?
Right.
Everyone knows me.
Yeah.
Everyone knows how he is. This guy from there and this guy from there and this guy from there. And oh my God, Junior. Oh yeah, he does this. And it goes back to like the dumbest of things. Like no one asks, how's Junior? You know, like no one.
But it, as like crazy as it is, I'm like getting super emotional. That one question of like, how are you doing, can like change everything. Because sometimes like it doesn't matter like how great life may seem. Like sometimes it's so dark in there that like you don't realize like the good stuff. You only see the bad stuff all the time. And it's like you say, you see these people who are these entertainers and we always have a smile on our face and everything seems so great, but it's like no one has stopped and asked like, hey, like, how are you doing?
You mentioned Kevin Hart earlier, and that was something that I thought he did incredible with. However you may feel about his comedy or his movies or whatever, but the fact that he titled that stand-up special Laugh at My Pain, like as a comedian or an actor in the comedic arts or even in the performing arts, a lot of the time, you're going to end up laughing at that person's pain.
Oh, 100%.
And people don't understand that they live in that and they gain all the courage in the world to go and put on this show or whatever, a performance, whatever it may be, because it's what they're like, what they need to do. They're a vessel for this art. They're a vessel for this existence to deliver this message, but it's coming through so much fucking pain.
So much.
Like so much darkness, what you're saying, so much pain. So like a lot of the time it was like, it's what's coming out of me naturally. I wanna be hosting. I wanna be entertaining.
Yeah.
Very much like how Eddie is. Like I see like mirror images and a lot of things like that because, yo, how are you doing? If you're not doing good, I'm not doing good because that's the empath in me. Like
same.
Major.
Oh my God.
Major. I go as high as you do and I go as low as you do. I might go lower and I might go higher even.
Which is like, I don't know how it is with you and your girl, but it's like that's something that I struggle with a little bit because I'm such an empath and I'll feel like how you say, I'll feel it, what you're going through, but I'll feel it 10 times worse. And then my come down from that is like horrible. And there are days that I'm already, and it's sad to say, but I'm already suffocating that when I'm feeling, let's say it's a perfect example. Yesterday, I was having a really rough day and so was Eddie. And instead of meeting him where he needed me to meet him because I was so like overwhelmed with what I was going through. I couldn't meet him there. And I said, like, he asked for something and I like said something to him in a certain way. And I saw how like he took it. I think what I want to ask is like, how do you balance your bad days as an empath and your girl's bad days and not take it personal or feel like it's an attack on you, or vice versa? She takes it personal and she feels like you're attacking her. How do you balance that? Or do you even struggle with that?
Yeah. No. We do. I think we're all human.
Yeah.
And I think even just living with yourself is already difficult enough. Figuring yourself out and navigating through the world on your own. So if you're choosing a partner, especially a life partner to do it with,
right,
you're gonna run into any issues. But if you have the right partner and you have the right mindset going into it,
right,
you'll be able to get through any issues. So a lot of it, I did a lot of the work beforehand. So like going back to that 2019 low point, I started dating Steph at the end of that year, and I pushed her away because it's when I started therapy.
Yeah.
And it was one of the things that they talked about. Like, you shouldn't be in a relationship. And it was one of those things too. It's either going to be a destructive or constructive one.
Yeah.
And ultimately you make that decision.
Yep.
Ultimately I made that decision where like, yeah, I pushed her away, but then came back around and I was like, no, this is going to be constructive. And I know her heart, man, and I know her soul. And she's one of the most incredible specimens and just souls that ever existed.
Yeah.
Like, and I'll do anything to not have her go through like the dark days that I experienced right before her. And I know that she's gone through her own dark days.
Yeah.
She needs to do her work and her journey because I'm not someone to tell her what to do.
Right.
But what I am telling her is that in any direction that she's going to look, I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
So that's what I can offer more in those situations. And I think like not expecting your partner to be you.
Right.
Or to
for me, it's like
respond like you think.
Right. Respond like you think, or be responsible for what it is I'm going through. And, you know, the way you talk about Steph is the way I talk about Eddie. Like, I was with someone before him for a really long time, and it was like, it's night and day. And Eddie's a type of person, and I'm lucky that it's like, okay, what are you feeling? How are you feeling? What can I do? And he's such a fixer, like he wants to fix it. And I explain to him every now and then, like, yo, if you had an answer for this, you would have given it to me already.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
it's coming out of like a desperation place.
Yeah,
too.
he
like,
wants to help so bad.
But not having the answer, because again, the initiative would have taken over and the answer would have been resolved, or the problem would have been resolved with whatever answer he had. But he wants to help so bad. And in those moments can't. So it's like desperation. Like, and
then I feel this guilt sometimes because it's like, and, you know, I'm going to have him on the pod and we're going to talk more about this, but dating is already hard and being with someone is already hard. And like you said, living with yourself is already hard. But then you add mental health to that and it is a fucking different ball game. Like it's hard, and there are good days and then there are bad days and then there are like I call them like normal days. But I do live with this guilt. I'll tell you, I walked in today and Roby looked at me and I'm like, I'm not feeling it today. And he's like, yo, what happened? I'm like, I just had a rough night last night. And I got into this space of feeling like I'm not pulling my part as a partner because coming off of the show that I just did, I had a really bad ankle injury. So recovery after the show was like rough, mentally as well as physically. And
my motivation, my discipline, everything kind of just like left out the door. Like if I could have sat on my couch all day in silence, that's what I wanted to do.
Sometimes you need that though.
Yeah, but not every single day. The house is a disaster. The dishes are in the like there's things, and I'm not working at the moment. You know, I only have to take care of the house. That should be the easiest thing. And I think what happens is it just gets so dark in my head that like I can't do anything. I've become paralyzed. And then after that, he comes home from like a long fucking day at work and the house is a disaster. And then I go into like this guilt. Excuse me. I go into this guilt.
Where does that come from originally? That guilt?
It comes with a bunch. I think it comes of like feeling lazy, feeling like I'm not good enough, feeling like I'm just like wasting away. And I know it's rooted somewhere deep, but it makes me feel like, oh, I'm not pulling my weight as a partner. Oh, I'm not doing it because I am living with this cloud over me. But there's some days that I can get out of it and there's some days that I can. And right now I'm having a really hard time kind of brushing it off and moving forward. And it's like, how do you not carry this guilt around you of like the dark days? And I think that's what I'm trying to like work on of like, yeah, have these dark days and it's really hard, especially in the relationship sometimes, but I'm a human being and I shouldn't feel guilty about it. And that's kind of where I'm at with that, but it's hard.
It's super hard. It's super hard, and you don't know how to be an empath with yourself.
Ugh.
And it's the craziest thing in the world, where like you really wish you were supplying yourself this empathy that you're dishing out by the tons. Free samples of empathy.
For everyone.
You don't even have to know them.
Yes.
Because it's that type of thing that you become this sponge. Like you always talk, like you talk about people sucking the energy out of a room or whatever.
Yeah.
That can literally happen by whatever you turn on. You being in an elevator with someone that you get off and you're like, ooh, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
I think having to realize with yourself that you can't fix all the problems, which, bro, like going back to kind of how Eddie's saying, like trying to fix this. And when you realize that you can't fix the world's problems and all of that, you start to let go a little bit. I've been so uptight my entire life and on edge because no. Porque si no.
Yeah.
Porque si no what?
What?
No one ever got to that level.
Yeah.
No one ever got to, in the video game of Porque si, like no one got to that level of it.
Right.
Just everyone dies apparently in the Porque si no. Like dead ass. There's nothing on the other side of that.
It's true.
And this shit is rooted. So that's why I was asking you earlier, like, where do you feel the guilt? Because for me, I felt the guilt for just existing a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Because of the like, oh, there's one thing with bad luck, but then there's the other, I can't get anything right. Holy shit. Like, I planned this outfit the night before.
Oh.
I looked at myself in the mirror 20 times. I switched the hat, the polo 3 times. I'm not wearing a polo anymore. The shorts don't even matter. They're not even in the shop. But then I'm leaving the next day and it's, you're going to wear that? Damn, bro, I can't get anything right.
Yeah, the I can't get anything right feeling, or the like, yo, when is fucking life just gonna like
chill and like settle in for me or whatever?
Yeah.
When can I start living my own life? Have you felt that? Because that was a lot of my issue with the whole like doing everything for everyone.
Yeah, it wasn't even much as doing everything for everyone as it was being the person that everybody else needed me to be, depending on what friend group I was in. So I was giving everyone a piece of me depending on what they needed. Not realizing that, yo, you can't give anyone a piece of anything right now. Like, you gotta, like, focus on yourself and, like, treat yourself the way that you... No. No way. But that's just... I mean, I've always been like that. Even, like, little. I used to... I guess you would label me as, like, the typical middle child. The one that was always in trouble. The one that was, like... I hated fucking school. I hated school. Like, it's funny because I was at Target with my mom the other day, and now it's like back to school, so it's all the school stuff. Junior, I'm not joking.
You're like, what? You're like,
I got this, like, my entire body went hot, like thinking like, oh, I'm going back to school. That's how much. And as I got older, I realized, okay, I had ADHD and I didn't get diagnosed until I was 31 years old. So having that as a kid, you know, that explains a lot. I was in ESE. Everyone thinks when I say ESE, I'm saying ESOL, which I have nothing against ESOL. Don't, you know, come for me. But ESE is like for students who have like learning disabilities. So I'm dyslexic, all of that stuff. So school was just like not fun.
Yeah.
And then I was labeled as like, I had like the attitude, but it's because I didn't understand what was happening. And because I didn't understand what was happening, my mind was so overwhelmed that, yeah, like I would catch an attitude with everyone. And it was like that. I hated middle school. It was the fucking worst years of my life. And then high school came and I realized, oh, life is a game. And I just have to like play the role of who I'm supposed to be. So I wasn't like your normal theater kid, because usually like theater kids stick with theater kids and like that's it. Like you don't like mingle. No, I was in student government. I was friends with the baseball players and the volleyball players. I was a diamond girl. Like I was all over because I realized that was the only way I could survive. Because when I wasn't trying to play all these different people, I had to be myself. And
what a scary thing to be. Especially when you don't know what the hell that is.
Yeah.
Who that is, what that is.
And then I thought I knew who I was. And in 11th grade, if you saw I did a one-person show. And if you saw my one-person show, I talk about this story. I was, like I said, I was overweight my whole life. But there was a point that like I was like, oh, this doesn't represent who I am. I'm a singer, I'm a friend, I'm a daughter, like I'm a sister. Like I was so proud of those other things that my weight didn't matter to me. And I was in 6th period, it was geography class. I'll never forget it. It was a Thursday. And it was homecoming week. And that day was like character book day. So we got to dress up as characters and I was Dorothy. And I remember sitting in class and I had like the whole fucking outfit, the red shoes. I like left the house and I was like, damn, dude, like if they were going to make another Wizard of Oz movie, I'm fucking Dorothy, dude. Like I felt so good. And I had such a great group of people around me that like always made me feel good no matter what. So I'm sitting in class and these 2 guys are in back of me. And I hear one of them go, dude, does she think she looks good in that dress? She looks so fat. Never in my life was I picked on for being overweight. People might have talked shit about me, but I never experienced it. Something happened to me. I remember raising my hand and asking to go to the bathroom. And I knew that my sister was in the office because she was office aide for that period.
You guys are that close in age?
We're a year apart.
Okay.
My older sister and I are a year apart, and my younger sister and I are 3 years apart.
Okay.
And she was in uniform because she didn't do any homecoming shit. And I walk in and I like told her, you need to come to the bathroom with me. You have to give me your uniform. I need to get out of this dress. Like I can't and I'm like sobbing hysterically. And fucking poor girl, dude, like she takes off her uniform, gives it to me, puts on the dress, has dual enrollment after class. So like she had to go and like was in this Dorothy outfit. And like I was very close with administration. So my vice principal got these guys out of class, like fucking were yelling at them. But at that point, the damage was already done. Like it didn't matter. You can scream at them all you want. The comment was already said. And it was like, have you seen Inside Out? Inside Out? That's what it's called, right?
I didn't see part 2 yet.
But you've seen part 1.
Yeah.
Like that core memory shit, that's exactly what happened to me. And I lost all the weight. I came back senior year. I talked about this. You heard this story yesterday. I came back senior year and I was a totally different person. And during that, I realized, oh, okay, I can't be me. I need to be the person that society wants me to be. I need to be the person that, the people around me want me to be. And I lost all the weight. I lost my confidence. I lost everything. I used to people used to say, and now people still say it, but there was a period where everyone used to tell me, you walk into a room and it's like this, you bring in this light. And I would walk into this room and I was just like, I felt turned off for the longest fucking time. And then you get into a relation. I got into a relationship at 18. I should have fucking just gone to college and enjoyed the thing. And I was with someone who was so fucking toxic and in a way that you don't really realize it, of like the little comments and the little things
that's the worst.
And
that becomes your diet more than anything. Like that's what you're really taking in more
that
than anything.
right there.
And all those little jabs, when you look down, you have like nothing left.
Nothing.
Your holes.
And it's crazy. Eddie said this the other day, and he didn't mean it in a bad way, but he said, they fucked you up so bad that you still get triggered from like,
Facts.
I'm not that guy. I'll never, and he, oh my God, fucking again, night and day. But there is a period where I was going through all these things and I finally found myself again, but got diagnosed with polycystic ovaries and gained 30 pounds after keeping weight off for I don't know how many years because I was suffering from an eating disorder. And the guy that I was with at the time, I gained this weight. We both know that I'm dealing with this shit, having to do birth control, all of this. He sits me down one day and he tells me, you're starting to gain weight and I'm starting not to be attracted to you. So things need to change. There's another core memory that did something to my brain.
This guy, dude.
That, oh yeah, dude. Fuck you,
guy,
dude.
Wow.
But yeah, and that did something to my brain. My eating disorder came back fucking high wire. And it took me a while to recover from that. And it took me a while to be like, oh, okay, when I'm with a guy, I need to look a certain way because if I let myself go, that's it. And I got into this thing of well, what happens when I have a kid? And I gain the baby weight and I don't lose, what are you gonna leave me? Because, also all these things came into my head. So then I meet Eddie, who is fucking, I wake up in the morning with my hair all over the place. I don't have any makeup on. And he's like, my God, you're so beautiful. And I'm like, thanks. I guess all I needed was your saving. But he doesn't realize it. But he gave color to my world that was so fucking dark. But
so important.
Yeah.
That's dope.
And has allowed me to be authentically me. Even though sometimes she's fucking dark and it gets dark. But it's going, the purpose of that story was I spent all these years being someone who I wasn't. So by the time I had to I did a show 2 years ago and they asked me, who are you? And I'm like, I don't know. Janessa and I were talking about that yesterday because we both got nervous in the beginning and I asked her a question, which I don't even start the pod with asking such serious questions. And I asked her, who is Janessa? And if someone fucking would ask me that question, I'll be like, fuck you, dude. I don't know who I am. But it's do you find that you're living in your authentic self? Or do you find that sometimes there are seasons that you are authentically you, and then there are seasons that you're okay, I have to be this version of Junior in order to get through the season?
I think I'm finally living my authentic true self.
Yeah.
But again, I didn't reach this without like scraping the bowels of hell, like legit. I needed to stare into the fire, and I needed that fire to burn inside of me to then like rise from the ashes like a phoenix, like everyone always says, like that comeback.
Yeah.
So now I think I'm living in my truest self, but still navigating with mental health issues all the time. Navigating with a partner too, that I'm not perfect. She's not perfect. There's a lot of situations like what you're mentioning with Eddie that she's had horrible relationships in the past.
Yeah.
I know this. I know someone that she dated in the past that like I sided with her and she's like, what are you doing here? You're his friend. And it's like, first of all, you're crying.
Yeah.
So I'm addressing the matter at hand.
Right.
And now I just found out why you're crying. So I'm sticking around here with whoever else is going to stick around because this is the right place to be. Like, I'm in for justice more than anything.
Yep.
This isn't a loyalty on that case. Like, oh, I know him. Like,
right.
Which is what ends up happening a lot with guys. And just with whoever you're dating or the genders involved and stuff, you just coop all to one side and stuff. This is random, but guys always get called dogs.
Yeah.
And I low key am like, I love that because my favorite animal is a dog. So I'm like, if you're talking about loyal and like super happy to see you, at the end of a long, like all I need is belly rubs and a couple snacks, and I'm loyal to you forever. Like, yeah, I'm a dog. Like, but it's not that.
Right.
It's not that rep. But I think it's very difficult to navigate those things because, like I said, it needs to be your own journey. And what you need to realize something too is that you're talking about Eddie bringing the color into your days the same way that Steph has done it for me, but you've also brought color into his day.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you have a heart to heart with him, or whether it's on a podcast or literally at home, whenever, you need to like realize that this is a yin yang when it comes to that. Because if not, then, and I'm telling you now because I used to think exactly like this all the time, that I would end up down the negative tunnel no matter what.
Yeah.
Everything would start grand and big and all of this, but then it would narrow down into the negative tunnel. The whole count your blessings, not your problems thing is like a huge thing. Don't ever let one con outweigh that entire list of pros that you have. Right. Just because of that one thing. And then this freaking Rick Rubin, they call me the Cuban Rick Rubin here. If you zoom in, you obsess. You zoom out, you observe. Like that. Because you're talking about who am I going to be for this season, let's say, or who am I going to be for this friend group or whatever. Like, how can I live authentically myself? You need to get into that main character energy. Right. This video game of your life or the movie of your life. And decide that's who I'm going to be. Yeah. No matter what the fuck. But then also controlling it from like that balcony point of view. That's the zoom out and observe. Yeah. Because when you have these blinders on, you're only going to remember the last thing. And if the last thing, there's no growth in between because you're just latched onto that last thing, there's never going to be that separation for you to allow yourself to grow and be the best version of yourself.
100%.
That's me speaking like this now. Yeah. Right? Like 6 years ago, I probably wouldn't do this podcast. Right. You know, I'd hang out with you, no problem and whatever, but I probably wouldn't do this podcast. Like, I wasn't there. I needed to fall to the lowest, get helped out of that, because I think it takes a village no matter what.
Oh my gosh.
There's strength in numbers, like what we're doing here. What we do in life, just tribal mentality, village, everything, communal. Like, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for like a long list of people. I don't know. I just like veered off on a couple of things.
No, you're good. I kind of now, you know, we fucking have been saying some deep shit.
I told you, open book though.
No, and I love it.
I think it's important.
It is, especially.
And I didn't know why you're doing this so soon. I found out yesterday. Yeah. So like I commend you even more because as an artist would, you put yourself into it. You know, but in a way that you like see for yourself. Like you may not know who you are yet, but I definitely feel like you're figuring it out.
Yeah.
You know, and you're finding out more and more at every little turn. There she is, bro. Like, oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, every now and then I get because I think also what happens is that there are seasons in our lives that are so high and so amazing. And that's who kind of you want to go back and be. And it's like, yo, we're constantly evolving. Every now and then I catch myself of like, oh my God, but 2019 Marcela. And I'm like, okay, thank 2019 Marcela. Thank her. Thank her for being where she was at the level that she was at, because she brought you a show that changed your life. Because of that show, you met your fiance. Like there was so many things that 2019 Marcela gave to me. And every now and then I want to go back to that version, but I can't. That version was already, she already did what she had to do.
You thank that version. A lot of people talk about climbing mountains. You can't stay at the top of the peak. You need to climb down that mountain and go climb another one.
Right.
2019 for you was this incredible Kilimanjaro, whatever, your highest mountain, let's say, to date.
Yeah.
But okay, you climbed it. Beautiful. Look back at it with all of those memories. Look at the fruits from those roots, from those days. Like look at where you're at now. What are you gonna climb next? You know, like don't get hung up on that.
And there's days that I'm like, when I have my, my episodes, that I'm like, I know that you're going through this right now, but you can catch it now, which is something you never used to do. I can feel when my funks are coming, like I like to call them. And it's not that I can stop them, but I change the narrative of it now. And it's like, okay, this is coming. These are the reasons why you might be feeling that way. And it goes through like hormones dropping and all this shit. And fucking woman's body is like insane and the shit that we have to go through. But I do find that there are some days that I'm gentler with myself. And like, I'm like, okay, this is who you are at the moment and it's okay. And the people around you love you for who you are at the moment. But then I realized people who have left because I'm not as active as I used to be, or I'm not the social butterfly like I used to be. You mentioned something about like group of friends who you thought these were like lifers and things ending. And did that fuck with your psyche a little bit of like when you were at your like fucking darkest, that the people that you thought were gonna like have your fucking back were like, deuces, I can't deal with this?
Yeah. The silver lining is that I did have the ones that
matter.
That I was like, okay, these two or these four or whatever, they were those two, they were those three, they were those four. But then there was those other ones that you're like, wait. And then you start going back in everything, right? And
yes.
Then you probably do this that you're like, I have all the receipts. Mm-hmm. And you're like, I did everything for this person, for their family, for their girlfriend's family, for their boyfriend's family, for everyone. And then you're like, that whole, do you have 8 minutes? Do you have 8 minutes? Like so many people that don't, and so many of those people. So it became that internal thing because of course, why me? And then I came from a upbringing of my parents each teaching me something different. You take everything personal and you make everything personal.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So, but separately.
Yeah.
So I combine those two things together and it's lethal.
Yes.
Because in these situations, bro, I'm taking it personal because I already made it personal.
Yep.
We've been friends for decades or whatever the case may be.
And then you learn that it actually wasn't personal and they just couldn't.
No. Life.
Yeah.
Life was happening.
Right.
And that's the thing. You can't lose the spectrum of thinking that you're the apple of everyone's eye either. Like sometimes you're not even going to be there for your own parent.
Yeah.
You know, like, so the fact that anyone's giving you the light of day, entertain that over the things that we latch onto.
Yeah.
But no, for me, it was super difficult to overcome going back to like that loyalty thing.
Yeah.
oh wow, like I thought we were friends for whatever family. I thought we were blood, right?
Right.
We are blood, but that
Yeah.
means no. And then because of the way my dad is, and going back to that character, he's what saved me in a lot of these situations. My mom was the one that was or is very fearful of everything.
Yeah.
So very speculative of everyone's up to something and this and that. And don't tell anyone what you're doing because they're going to.
My mom's like that too.
And then I realized the fact that I didn't tell anybody what I was doing, nobody knew I needed help. Nobody knew what I wanted to do with my life to then help me and do those things. So, oh no, I thought you wanted to study this, or I thought you wanted to go there, or I thought you wanted to date this, or I thought you wanted to move here. Like,
yeah, you thought. You never asked.
Nobody asked. Like that happens all the time in my family, especially shout out to Diaz Flicks, because they've always asked me, like, what do you think he wants to do? Like, he's not right there.
Yeah.
Why don't we just speak to humans when they're right in front of you like that and humanize them?
Yeah.
Because these little guys and girls are going to be big guys and girls one day, and they're going to take your place. So I come from that background of things. So luckily, like, my dad was able to help me let go of certain things and have a certain approach. But bro, to navigate that world and like the loyalty of like, I thought you were this person, but then my dad will teach me, yeah, they were that person. If someone shows you who they are, believe them. And if there's smoke, there's fire for things. So like going back to that energy thing, like if you meet someone, and going back to being a dog, how many dogs are like, I don't fuck with that person ever. How many babies? Same shit. Babies don't want to get carried by a certain person. No. And it's like, it doesn't matter. All right, cool.
And they're like, they can feel that. Eddie makes fun of me all the time. And it's a running joke in the family because I can meet someone and I can tell you, yes, no, need a couple more interactions with them too. But like my sister would bring friends over, my older sister, and she'd be like, did you get a good energy from them? Like her now wife. But we all went to middle school together, but when she brought later on in life, they connected again, Crystal. So when she brought Crystal over for the first time and she left, she's like, did you like her energy? Like, was she nice? Like everyone asked me, and Eddie's understanding it now. But I can tell you how many times I've met people in his world.
The radar goes off.
That I'm like, hey, there's something off with this person. Just be on your toes, like be aware. And and he never does. And then at the end, he's like, damn, you were right about that person. I'm like, you're going to learn that you're engaged to the witch of Hialeah. You're going to learn that. And when you learn that, life is just going to be so much more simple for you. When you learn, let me just fucking listen to my girl.
Open up all those closed doors, all those pathways that have been blocked off because the energies have been, Once you take the reins of that, and I feel that it's just because he's such a freaking good ass dude. And I don't want him to hit a further rock bottom than whatever he's hit. Right. To then experience and turn back around. No, I want him to like finally dust himself off and be like, you're not the fucking issue. Same thing with you. Same thing with all the buena gente. Like, we're not the fucking issue. It's just other people that don't know how to do things and don't know how to handle certain things. And what you said, how are you doing? Like, don't even know how to do that. Don't know how to humanize any situation. A lot of relationships are transactional. Yes. And it's like, a lot of them are power positions too. Like, I need the status thing. So I need to be here and keep you there type of thing. Yep. When you come into things with like raw emotions, like just this purity for like, I want kindness to win overall and like good vibes. And when you're talking about like good energy, like I want to bring good energy and I want to be surrounded by good energy. Eddie goes into a lot of these places, but he's a golden doodle. And they want to train him to fight
Yeah, they want him
it's
to
like,
be
no, it's
a
not.
pit, and he.
My guy, you want belly rubs too, and you want
Yep.
like be in those places.
And because he is so like love and open and stuff, you get people who are like, oh, I know
Oh, yeah.
exactly what to say to get what I need to get, and fuck you at the end. But then that's why it's good to be a kind of like an opposite, because even though I do consider myself buena gente, but because life threw so many different things at me, I am going to have you right here. I'm going to figure out who you are in a couple of seconds, and then I'm going to decide, okay, I can give you my energy, or you know what? I'll just meet you right here, and that's it. And he's learning how to do that. He just thinks everyone's good.
No.
He thinks everyone is good. And it's not like, oh, the world is bad, but it's just like, yo, you meet your really good people, and then you'll meet the people that you think are good, and then after a couple things, you're like, wait a second, you're not who I thought I was. I wanna, we'll wrap it up in a little bit, but I need to talk to you about Banana Man.
Okay.
I didn't know that you were Banana Man. I'm so sorry. I hope that doesn't affect our friendship. I actually didn't know you were Banana Man until Eddie told me. And I was like, oh, I've seen this Junior guy somewhere, and he's like, Banana Man? And I'm like, who the fuck is Banana Man? And he's like, babe, the Heat games, dude. And I'm like, oh shit, Banana Man. How the fuck did that how did you come up with Banana Man? And I love how you talk about him, by the way. Because like when I talk about my certain characters, I give them the respect that they deserve. And I feel like you give Banana Man respect.
Oh, facts. Yeah.
I love it.
I kind of separate all of those like characters like that. Growing up as an only child, I always did all these different characters in my room and had my own little shows and stuff. Banana Man wasn't developed then.
Okay.
But the Robin Williams in me, I already had all these voices, characters, names, like, et cetera, et cetera. So Banana Man wasn't until 2008, 2009. I was going with one of my good friends, Manny. He was actually the mascot at Columbus our senior year.
Wow.
Used to go to these to the Heat games with him when he wouldn't go with his dad. He had season tickets.
Okay.
So I would just go, and I always liked to mess around. So I would always like dance if it was like the fan camera or whatever. If like one of the mascots was around, like, and they needed someone, or like yo me prestaba for those things. So this was literally just going to games, and I would just show up and start like dancing, and I started getting out the Jumbotron. I started wearing like random little outfits or like a funny hat or something to a game. And then my homegirl Shayla, she's like a big sister to me. I worked with her in the Heat, and she had mentioned that they were looking for people I worked with her in the Marlins previously.
Okay.
And she said that they're looking for people in the Heat for like the extreme team hoop troop, like throw the t-shirts, pump up the crowd and whatever. And I was like, damn, I got time now, because I was away playing baseball, and I had moved back, and I was going to go back to school and stuff like that. So I was like, I think I may be able to do the season, and then I could do it like full time after that and whatever. Let's see. Like, so like I met with some people, they set up a meeting, and then they like, we're going to bring me on. And they're like, we've seen you at the games too. And I was like, yeah, like I fuck around, this and that. Like I like dancing, blah, blah, blah. And then that kind of like planted a seed in their head. Like, all right, we got to do something with this guy, because he's already coming in like, este loco. Like, what are we doing? And bro, I think honestly, it was like probably the Family Guy cartoon sketch that they did with like the dog wearing the banana suit, and he's like wearing maracas. And I think someone just like saw it that week or something. And we had like gotten a couple different costumes, but that one just like was so like
over
money.
the top, and like,
and it was also this little like, then I started adding to it, because that's how I am. Like that's where the artist comes out that you're like, okay, now I have this.
Yeah.
So it was like, all right, banana, it's tropical fruit. We're in Miami, works out perfect. Boom. super lightweight, easy. I can move around. All right. Then I'm like, all right, you go bananas for the team. And then I start getting all corny for it. I'm like, oh God,
Oh
what have I unleashed here? Whatever. So I was like, I don't want to be corny with it.
Right.
Like, I'm never going to do something and then like it becomes something and I'm like,
Yeah, you
it
you're
was supposed
like
to be this one-time thing or whatever. Like, no. So immediately I was like, Eddie can appreciate this. I had J's on. I had 11s. I had these black, red, and white 11s on.
Nice.
And I put on some Ray-Bans and I was like, he's going to be a cool looking dude. You know, like he's going to have some kicks and whatever.
Yeah.
And I know how to dance and I know how to dance salsa and I know how to dance a little hip hop. I know how to dance whatever. So I got the rhythm and it was like a perfect storm. Like they handed it to me and I was like, I have all this shit in my bag. Let's go. And like from the first game, people started calling me Banana Man.
Oh my gosh.
Like from the first, like, yo, Banana Man, it was great. Like, just dapping me up and I didn't talk. That was another thing because again, developing this character or whatever.
Bananas
don't talk, but you know, men can move and whatever. So that was the components. What I was telling Zay, like I had certain banana-like. And
no, I love
human-like.
it.
Like that's how I developed this character, and then it just continuously evolved. And it became something bigger than like a shtick or like a Miami thing.
Right.
Because I mentioned to him, like, people were hitting us up for like interviews or like, who is this guy? Where did he come from? Is he a part of you guys?
Yeah.
Is he a fan? How did this happen? And then there was one time that we were on the championship parade.
Okay.
And there was a guy that was interviewing me that later on ended up being on Saturday Night Live.
Oh shit.
He was doing like some bit or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
This guy, Kyle Mooney.
Yeah.
And he was doing like awkward interviewer at the parade. And a clip like went like viral at the beginning of, this is the beginning of like YouTube, the first couple of years or whatever, where I'm beatboxing and he's just like doing a terrible rap or whatever with like that long like stick mic. And then that kind of became like memes and whatever. And it was all these like random things that were happening from this random thing that we had created. And I did it from 2009 to like 2015.
Wow.
That was my last season. The season after the Heat lost the championship against the Spurs, LeBron left. Mm-hmm. Then 1 year after that was like my last season there.
Wow. That's a long time.
Yeah. And then like on the mental health side of things,
I was just going to ask you.
That was dope, but the things behind the scenes were the things that were like really messing me up because I wasn't trying to do this full time. I was trying to like make a career in other things and work with the team or work like in sports and that avenues of, or that arena per se.
Right.
And it was like, okay, no. Why don't you come back next year and we'll figure it out. And maybe just do Banana Man. So then it was kind of like, all right, now I saw that it was more the character than the human.
Right, right.
So I was like, oh shit, well, they're like shelving everything or they're taking a bunch of ideas and just like running with it, but I'm like left behind for things.
Yeah.
That's when like I realized I never stood up for myself in anything. I've never asked for a raise in any of my jobs. I've never asked for anything like, because I was taught, yo, just be happy to be here, dude. Like
that has always, and Eddie is the total opposite. And he's been for me the one that's like, go and ask for the money. Go and oh my God. Like when I have to start talking about like money and like negotiating, I'm like, $1 is fine.
Yeah.
It's okay. Like I don't need any more than that.
But then you're going home and having mental breakdowns all the time and you're living in this dark cloud and shit and you're like, I should kick down that door.
But
I should like.
Yeah, but it's what I was taught from a young age is it is a privilege for you to be doing what you're doing. It is a privilege for you to be there. And like even doing gigs, like I would do theater shows and there were some theaters that, You know, like for example, I just worked with Gable Stage and they were incredible. Like one of the theaters that I've worked with who like puts the actors first, cares about the actors, like they understand, yo, the show's not gonna go up if our actors are not at their point. There's other theaters that like you're just the actor, like get on stage and do your
dance,
job.
monkey dance.
Yeah.
What's that?
And I used to always be like, oh, but it's, you know, I never roll your eyes, never do this, never do anything bad because I don't want to lose the opportunity I have.
That's living in the porque si no.
Right. And then Eddie came into my life and
like,
was like,
what the hell?
And he's like, you're talented as fuck. Like you have amazing work ethic. People are calling you to work with you because of all that. So you can demand the things that you want to demand. You can say no to the things. Because that was another thing. I used to never say no because I was like, fuck, dude, if I say no, like...
You're going to lose out on this. And they're going to think that you said no, even so like, she doesn't want it.
And still I'm learning how to do that. Because
yes is expensive.
Yes is expensive.
Yes is expensive.
But I'm still like, look.
And closed mouths don't get fed. Bruh. Yeah. This is the stuff that I need to, like, I keep saying to myself daily. That's why I'm like these little mantras and whatever.
Yeah.
I'm going to spit them out just so you hear them and feel them too because it's true.
No, it's true. And I'm getting better at it now. And I'm like, okay, stand your ground. Ask for the things that you want to ask for. Like, I am getting better, but it was hard in the beginning being a woman in the industry and just not wanting to like piss anybody off. Mm-hmm. And you thinking like, oh,
step on anyone's toes, ruffle any feathers. You're a woman, you gotta stay quiet and just say yes. Be a fly on the wall if you can, like.
And just being scared that the opportunity was gonna get ripped off my look. Amparo, when we were doing Amparo, we did Amparo for 8 months. I didn't get an understudy until like I want to say the last 2 months of the show. I did every single show. I even did a show passing fucking a kidney stone. Yeah, like because I was scared to say, hey, I am in way too much pain. I cannot do the show because in my mind, I thought if I miss a show, I'm going to get replaced. Yeah. Like it's a Cable Stage. I fell 2 days before we opened the show, tore the main ligament in my ankle. And they're telling me, hey, don't come in for rehearsal the next 2 days. And I'm like, no, I'll be there. Don't worry. Because I am terrified that that opportunity was going to be like literally taken from me in the blink of an eye. So I'm learning of like, yo, if the opportunity was given to you, it's because it's yours.
Yeah.
If you weren't ready for it, it wouldn't be yours. Just because you say no doesn't mean you're ungrateful. Doesn't mean that you don't appreciate what you're doing. Another thing was like, you know, never complaining, even if like you're tired, because it's like, oh, you're lucky to be doing what you're doing. And it's like, yeah, I'm lucky,
and
but
if you don't want to do it, there's 1,000 people that want to do it.
Yeah.
150%
Oh, you're tired.
more
There's
than
someone. And it's like, okay, dude, but I'm allowed to be fucking tired. Like, let me be tired for one day, but also be grateful for what I'm doing.
You can be both. That's what people forget.
People forget that. Because
we come from, it's one or the other.
But it's like, you can be sad, but also be fucking happy and love the life that you're living.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't take away. And it's like, it goes back to then asking for help. Like, just because you ask for help or just because you do certain things doesn't take away from who you are. Doesn't, you know, label you as like, oh, I'm fucking weak as fuck because I need help. No, dude, you're fucking stronger than you think.
Yeah.
Because asking for the help takes a lot more than like sitting in the silence. Being like, hey, I know there's something fucking wrong. Like I'm waving all.
What you said earlier, you know, acknowledging that's typically the biggest issue of them all. Because what is it? No, yo no tengo nada.
Yeah.
No, I'm good. I'm straight. Yeah, don't worry.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah. You good? Yeah, I'm good. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first part is that part.
Yeah.
It's acknowledging that and then what you do with it. And then asking for the help, but who? who are you asking for the help? Because
Right.
sometimes you ask the wrong person, you leave worse than you showed up.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
So it has to be one of those iron sharpen iron and like good intention behind it. The same way, like you're gonna tell me someone I don't work out, I don't lift weights,
Yeah.
but someone that's like lifting weights, something that I can't lift, gets to a level that they can't lift, they're asking for help.
Right.
The next time they're gonna be able to lift that one, and then they'll get stronger and ask for the next 5 pounds or the next 10 pounds. You gotta look at it like that too, like this journey, but also with like your vibe attracts your tribe. Make sure you have that right tribe looking out for you on that journey. The strength in numbers, but make sure those numbers are positive numbers.
Yeah.
You know, and not dragging you ass backwards to that last memory that we're talking about. That's the one that you can't get over or you can't get past. Like, it's got to be like swinging on to, there's a lot of faith involved in that, obviously, and a lot of trust in yourself and the universe, and realizing that not everyone's going to fuck you over.
Right.
And the universe isn't conspiring against you. It's the opposite.
The universe has your back.
Yeah. And what you put in is what you're going to get out.
Right.
For sure.
Right.
For sure. And I've been feeling that more and more. This, like, so many sacrifices have been made to get to this point for people where they have been more fulfilled than they've ever been in their entire life because they can feel that the strength in numbers, the people that are involved have gone through their share of heartbreaks, their share of mental health issues, their share of financial issues, their share of health struggles, all, like everything.
Yeah.
And are realizing that, yo, look who's still around. After knowing everything that everyone's gone through, look who's still around and look who wants to pick up the pieces and look who wants to like make everything better, not just their life, but their world, their future, their bubble per se. Because if you can't change the world, you know, change yours at least. Like,
yeah. I love it. Guys have emotions too. Guys have big fucking emotions. Right, Chris?
the bigger the guy, the bigger the emotions.
The bigger the guy,
Get
the
Roby
bigger
back in here. We're gonna Eddie next and freaking.
What kind of emotions? No, he you know, he was open with his emotions. Thank you for being here today and having this open conversation. I know that there's things that we touch that are hard to talk about, and I just appreciate that you came in as an open book and fucking gave us a great pod today.
No, thank you for having me. Thank you for everything that you do and that you're doing. Again, like what this was birthed out of, I didn't know until ultimately yesterday. So I think it's a beautiful approach to everything that you're dealing with. And again, it goes back to the strength in numbers. You're not alone.
Thank you.
In any of this shit. You're not alone in this podcast because we're here for you too as well and stuff.
Yeah.
It takes a village, and you got a lot of people now looking out for you too that are gonna protect that village too. So I'm always rooting for you, all your wins.
Thank you.
And most importantly, health and happiness.
Yep.
Those two more than anything. So congratulations.
Thank you.
To you because you deserve to hear that.
Thank you.
And I wish you much more success on all of this, across the board, in and out of this, and love. Shout out to Eddie.
Shout out.
Shout out. I can't wait till he comes through.
I know.
Men have emotions too.
Men
He's
have
one with
emotions
emotions.
too.
So thank you for having me though.
No, thank you.